Hello, folks. Let's see here. As people log on, we'll see how things are going. Let me test the live chat. If somebody can respond to me, I appreciate it. Excellent. I assume that means you all can hear me. Excellent. Okay, great. Let's get started. We have a few questions in Piazza. So I'm going to take the second one first. Is from Ali. Ali. Sorry, guys. I broke my glasses, so forgive me if I'm staring intently at the screen here as we're talking. I had to find an old pair, so I can't really see what I'm doing. Excellent, you're on. Okay. So it says everywhere at the midterm final is open book, open videos, open Piazza, yet no internet. Yes, that's a little ironic. No, so what we don't want you to do is go search for answers on Google. Yes, you can look at the book. Yes, you can look at the videos. Yes, you can look at Piazza. You can look at the challenge questions. Basically, you can look at the course materials. But you're not allowed to look at the internet in general, not allowed to look at other courses, not look at other textbooks, just the stuff that's dedicated to this book, which is this course, rather. So hopefully that's pretty explicit. And if nothing else, you can go back to the, I think we have some questions on this in the plagiarism quiz that I hope make things pretty, pretty explicit. No, you can't use Google. So when you talk to each other, what type of questions can be posted on Piazza and Slack? Basically, when you go to post a question on the midterm, you're going to do it privately to the TAs. You're not going to do it publicly. And the TA for that question will hopefully get back to you quickly and answer the question. So yeah, keep all your, except for things like, oh, look, the turn-in system is not working, or how do I use Gradescope, or how do I, if it's general stuff like that, post it in to Piazza publicly. But it's like on question 2, I don't understand how to use Gibbs free energy on this. It is. I thought that we used it in the following way, right? And oftentimes in asking the question, you'll actually give away the answer and not realize it. So please post content questions of the midterm privately. And if there is something that is a major issue, the TAs and I will make a public announcement about it. Okay, let's see what else here. Yes, you can't talk to each other about the midterm, and so yeah, no collaboration of any type on the midterm. Okay, so I marked that as resolved. We go to the next one. Assignment 3, so this is, who is this? Derek. Assignment 3 is very helpful in providing intuition for the math involved conditional probability. Great. I came away with a much better intuition for conditional probability and Bayesian modeling, and now I want to go experiment using this at work. Thank you for that. Wonderful. We try to actually make stuff that, assignments that actually are immediately useful. I am very pleased that a lot of you have been able to take the 6 assignments we do and immediately apply them to your work. It's always exciting when I hear you guys do that. There is, Derek, I would, if you liked that assignment 3, there are some challenge questions that talk about deseparation that have you work out how the conditional probability works for deseparation with Bayes nets. And to tell you the truth, I did not really get Bayes nets. and how D-separation worked until I actually made that question and forced myself to go through all the different conditional probability situations, and calculate out everything. And then I got myself an intuition. And so really for me, Bayes nets, believe it or not, I didn't really get it until Sebastian Thrun's, I saw Sebastian Thrun's lecture for this class, and said, hey, let's try working with these active and inactive triplets and figure out how things work. So if you really want to get the next level of conditional probability in your brain, go find those challenge questions on D-separation, and it'll help tremendously. I know it did for me. Okay, so now back to your question. As the number of truth tables increase, I'm not sure how to know when Bayesian modeling is still a good idea, except by try and error. Well, this is how we teach you about Bayes nets and how to construct them, going from cause to effect. And so once you have that, you can just put in the simulator if you could do good modeling and do the sampling, and all the truth tables just get taken into account and magic happens. This is why there's so many fans of Bayes nets. Okay, for instance, we would provide 2 small truth tables, skill and match outcomes. Yep. However, if we had 10,000 truth tables, well, then you'd have a Bayes net with 10,000 nodes, and you can just have a system that solves it, or a simple system that samples it. Does the problem become intractable at some point, or is it variable elimination with Gibbs, Holonobus, not Holonobus, Metropolis Hastings sampling adequate? Actually, the sampling is adequate. There are some situations where you have a very improbable path through the Bayes net. Something has a lot of very rare condition, and so you gotta make sure that you sample that path often enough. You have to you have to make sure enough samples in there to get a good, decent representation. Okay. And could you please share your general thoughts on any heuristics intuition that may be useful when considering using Bayesian modeling with a more real-world problem? Believe it or not, you actually know enough now. The hard thing is designing the Bayes net in the first place and getting all those probabilities that you need, from real-life situations. The whole trick with Bayes nets is simply, you go from these relatively simple nodes and situations, and you go from cause to effect and try to put everything down, and it works surprisingly well. As long as you try to keep your network simple as far as the cause to effect thing, it converges pretty quickly. Get pretty good results. What can I say? So, while everybody's all excited about deep learning and neural nets and all this type of stuff, Bayes nets can be pretty deep themselves, because you can actually do a lot of different levels. You can put them in hierarchies. There's a lot of good juju there, especially if you're doing things like the insurance example or a diagnosis example, this sort of thing. These Bayes nets are really powerful for certain classes of problems. So anything where you basically have situations where you can extract from experience some stats and chain it together in the cause to effect, you're in pretty good shape. Okay, question 2. This is my final class. However, I'd love to pursue the EA03 special problems. That sounds fantastic. Could you please elaborate on how to go about getting started with that, or what you are looking for in a candidate right away? Thanks in advance. Or candidate right now. Thanks in advance. Okay, so I am a big proponent of doing research both in undergrad and in master's. And now actually I've spent some time with OMSCS students doing research in OMSCS. I'm a big fan of that too. It's just trying to figure out best practices is hard. So we're still working on that. And, my students who are working on Parker and who are working on Jack Watson really do a pretty good job on doing this. And so when I started doing research, I guess it was 2016, 2017 with OMSCS students, I just put out the call for who is interested, and I get people's resumes and what they want to do, and I select from that. Um, Nowadays, and that was for Parker and Watson. Nowadays, there's more and more OMSCS students doing actual research, 8803s, 8903s. I guess it's 8803s for you guys. And one of the problems is simply finding good research that can be done over remotely. And it turns out there's a lot you can do. It's just that we're not used to thinking that way. And it's kind of important to create a structure so you all get the sort of feedback and mentorship you need when doing that sort of independent studies with us. There's still a process. We're still trying to figure out how to do it. And with Rocco, who heads up the Jack Watson stuff, I'm trying to put together best practices for research for MSCS. So, but you had a question about how you get started. So, like I said, at the end of the semester, we will be putting out calls for people to hop with Jack Watson and Parker, and you can volunteer for that. Or I will slowly be expanding my work with OMSCS to my more mainstream research as well, not just the OMSCS research. In particular, if you have sign language skills, if you know sign language, that makes you that I'm very curious. Why you know sign language, and since a lot of my work is making sign recognition systems. So if you oh, I see. Yeah, David Joyner has some OMCS research. Yeah, I do too. There's a few of us who do. I think Ashok might. I can't remember who else is doing it. David White might. I don't know who all else. Jack, you guys haven't heard me rant about Jack Watson? Okay. Well, so Jack Watson, when I was teaching this course, I guess spring 2017, I had a professor in Lisbon, Portugal, send me a email saying, I think one of your students just contract me to do his homework for hire on Freelancer. I said, what's Freelancer? And it's one of these small task sites, but it's for programmers. It's a freelancer site. And so me being an AI professor said, well, this is interesting. And so I started hunting down the student who was trying to do homework for hire. And we decided to actually use AI, types of AI we teach you in this course, to go and find people who are actually putting out homework for hire on websites, or using some of these websites that have storage of homeworks. And because we have a sixth sense of humor, we decided to call it Jack Watson, Jack Reacher Watson to be particular. And Jack is Jill's slightly more shady brother, and he actually goes out to these websites and hunts down plagiarizers. And we're quite successful with this. I think we have 9 cases with OS student integrity right now. This is not just for 6601. This is across all the courses in at least all the AI courses in OMS, not just OMSCS, in Georgia Tech in general, not just OMSCS. We catch students both on campus and online. Since we started this effort, the amount of stuff we see on these websites has gone down significantly. I'm quite happy to say. And but we maintain a team of people who keep making Jack Watson find these homework for hire sites, both the sites but also the private individuals who offer homework for hire. You'd be surprised what we can find. There's also some tricks we can use for detecting midterm plagiarism. And so it turns out that these homework for hire sites keep on, and personal websites keep on popping up everywhere. And so we maintain a set of OMSCS and on-campus 8803s. We try to make sure that they cross all languages and all time zones where we see this happening. And so it's a way to get yourself started in research, because we're still expanding this to more and more websites and being more and more aggressive about it. And I'm hoping that we're going to bring this not just to computer science, but to all of the courses at Georgia Tech. And maybe we'll actually bring Jack to more universities as well once we've finished proving it out here at Georgia Tech. So you'll see more about Jack. But if you're interested in anti-plagiarism, which is really interesting AI problem, we'll be calling for help at the end of the semester. Do you have legal recourse against the people who run the sites? Yes, we do. Doesn't mean I want to exploit it then, though. Trying to do that, in some cases, these sites do my job for me in offering homework for hire. They find me the cheaters, and in a format I can go chase them down. And so I'm actually happy to let them run. These sites actually have real reason to exist. Most off of them, and some of them are actually trying to do the right thing. Some of them are much more shady, but most of them actually have real legal important uses. But when they're used for plagiarism on Georgia campus, that's when I get annoyed. And so what we had is what we have is a set of independent researchers in OMSCS who are very zealous about protecting the integrity of the OMSCS program, and I'm actually quite impressed at how much they're getting done. This is a significant amount of research. So I think you guys, is there a plagiarism assignment 3? I know grades haven't been posted yet. There's always plagiarism. The plagiarism rate has dropped in half since I started this program. But with 600 of you all out there, even a 3% plagiarism rate means I have 18 students to track down, which is annoying, but at least it's only 18. And let's see here. Oh, by the way, the legal recourse question, you can hit them up on copyright violation, and you can do a takedown act, but it's a continuing problem. It's much better to just use the sites for our own purposes, so to speak. Now, Jack Watson, like I said, is still not, eventually we'll publish some of this stuff in Learning at Scale in these journals, and also probably in AI stuff. It's real AI research. But what we're publishing right now is Parker. So all of those of you who are using Parker, please continue to do so. There will be a survey coming out about Parker. Please fill it out. That's actually something we will be using in publishing our work. Parker reduces redundant posts by 25%. It keeps Piazza cleaned up surprisingly well compared to when we didn't have it. So our first OMSCS research stuff is actually finally getting to publication, and that will be published April 1st. Well, we'll be submitting it April 1st, but you'll see my team pushing on it soon. So that's Parker is another thing that y'all could get involved with if you're interested in improving your AI chops. All right. I also said about sign language recognition. I'm very interested in if any of you all have sign language background. We're working very hard at helping deaf kids learn language skills through using our computer vision chops. By the way, if you're actually looking for 8803s, the best thing to do is to go to Google Scholar, so scholar.google.com, and type in your professor's name, the people you think you might be interested in working with, and seeing what their most recent papers are, because that's what they're doing. Don't believe a professor's website. Don't believe the press. If you really want to see what a professor is actually doing, go to Google Scholar, type in their name, look at the most recent papers. That's what they're actually doing. And then you get to say, that's where you get to see what's going on. Can you talk about where it's being published yet or not until it's out? We're going to try to publish it. We're going to be submitting it to Learning at Scale at some point, and that's Parker, not Jack Watson. So there's no time limit on the one-week exam, assuming that we studied the course material, challenge questions, etc. How long do we expect to finish it? So a 2-hour exam or a full 1 week long exam. I would expect it to take a day. So think about 8 hours. That is reasonable. Notice in this course, this is a 3-credit course. Each credit is about 3 hours per week. So what we shoot for, if you are actually have kept up with everything and have or have done all the assignments and read the book carefully and watched all the videos, we try and make it so you can get this done in a day. That never happens. It'll take longer because you guys are all ambitious and all push hard. So, and the reason why we do the take-home exam is that we did a time limit. Then we have to do the proctor track thing, which is annoying and has a lot of privacy issues I don't like. It's actually FERPA compliant, so it's okay. Proctor track's okay, but I really hate the amount of breakage that happens when we do proctor track and Canvas. So that's why we do it as a take-home exam, and we give you a week to do it. One of the things we find is that you guys, when you do the assignments, you're sort of forced to learn some of the stuff deeply. Like the alpha beta pruning and the A-star search and the Bayes nets, and you'll get decision trees, and you'll get Gaussian mixture models and HMMs. But there's all this other stuff in the book that you read it, you watch the video, say, yeah, I get that. You do some challenge questions, and maybe you don't work them the whole way through, and you just look at the answer and say, oh yeah, I understand that. But once you actually are forced to do a novel problem, it really makes you go back and go, oh, maybe I didn't understand that. Maybe I should go back and read the book again. And so that's what we're trying to do. You'll find that the midterm and hopefully the final pushes you hard on the stuff that's pushes you harder, I should say, on the stuff that's not in the assignments, because we're trying to give you a survey of the course here, and having problems on the stuff that's not covered by the assignments really forces much better understanding. And we try to actually write our problems so that they're fun. I think you'll find some of this very fun. I was laughing out loud when I read some of the problems. All the TAs contribute. All the TAs review every single problem. Most of the problems have been worked out several times. We'll still screw some up because we're making new questions every semester. And so there'll be some revisions, and my apologies for that, but there's no other way to do it without reusing assignments. We don't want to do that. But like I said, we expect this to take you about a day if you're up to speed. Now, the thing is, this is a learning experience. We're hoping that even the best of you will be challenged a little bit by this exam. That will teach you something new. Oftentimes, we teach new material in the exam itself. The questions themselves make you learn. But some of you will find that the test will take a whole lot longer because either you didn't read the book carefully enough, or you didn't work all the challenge questions, whatever, or you just find them hard. We aim it so that my TAs and I can do it in 8 hours. But there's a couple of different ways to get a good grade in this course. One is be really smart and keep up with things, and one is to just work your butt off and work the problems till you're pretty sure you got them. We try to make the problems so that you get at least some sort of feedback on how well you're doing while working the problem. I think you'll see that. It's hard to do that, but I think you'll see we try to do that. We try to make the problems separable so you don't get cascading problems. Watch your math. Remember, we basically have to grade this stuff using Gradescope and using these automatic scripts. Some places we do actually ask you to show your work, so we can make sure you actually did what we expected you to do. And when things get difficult, when we see some weird stuff, we'll go back and actually look at your work. How much coding is involved in the midterm, you think? We try to make it so that you never have to code. Some problems you can code and figure it out that way. My suggestion, if you really want to go for it, you can, for a lot of these things, you can actually work them out by hand, using and find out all the shortcuts and tricks we put in them. And then you can actually code it up and make sure your answer matches. And so you have the time to devote to it. You can do it both ways. Some of these problems you can do both ways and figure it out. And that's one of the best ways to learn. Let's see here. I'm behind my level of skill and knowledge, but I'm averaging 20 hours a week. Yeah. What we find is that depending on your background and how careful you are, how determined you are, people can sink a lot of time in this course. We're trying to challenge our best students. At the same time, we're trying to give everybody a good basis. So if you do things like the extra credit or the competitions or stuff, and you can sink a lot of time in this course. You also can get a decent grade with sinking the nominal time into this course. The question is, what do you want to get out of it? This is, for a lot of you, this is the first course. If you're not familiar with Python programming, or you're not a skilled programmer, having done a bachelor's in computer science, or having some industry skill, and also this is this AI course, we consider that you should have already seen some of these ideas before, because this is a grad level course, it's not the undergrad course. So for some of you who are coming up from behind, for some of you, you're just sticklers for it. So we see all types. Some of the smartest students I've had sink tremendous amount of time in this course and hopefully get something for it. I think if you go, I posted, if you go back to my Canvas post of how to succeed in 6601, I posted the average number of hours reported by the on-campus teams, the on-campus students for this course. And I think that's pretty accurate. Okay, is it possible to collaborate on the challenge questions during the midterm? I'd rather you wouldn't. I don't think. I mean, my main thing here is to teach y'all. The midterm and the assignments are designed to make you think, and either you can know it and have already learned it, or hopefully the questions themselves will teach you the knowledge we want you to know. Um, mostly we like it when you we prefer that when you're on the midterm that you're mostly working on the midterm and not doing the other posts except May for like the assignment coming up. 20, 30 hours. Yep. Few more white hairs. You and me both. Yeah. Teaching this course causes white hairs as well as taking it. Yeah. I'm glad you're mostly enjoying it. I mostly enjoy it too. This is really cool stuff, or else I'm going to be teaching it. And when Sebastian and I first talked about Udacity, and the dean Z was talking about whether or not we should partner with Udacity for OMSCS. We were talking about how this is AI is a great course to teach this way, and you see that a lot of the first courses at Georgia Tech who go to OMSCS are AI based, machine learning based, and that's because we know Sebastian, and that's because we all are having fun with this. And so my goal here is to hopefully encourage you to have some fun with AI. Hopefully inspire you with some of these projects and some of the anecdotes and some of the questions and that sort of stuff. I'm trying to keep the mechanical labor, so to speak, as little as possible. But for some things, like for simulated annealing or for hidden Markov models, for Bayes nets, or testing alpha beta pruning, you just have to slog it through, because until you have that, until you got done it through by hand mechanically, like variable elimination, until you've done it by hand and had that aha moment, you're just not going to get it. So some of this stuff I've found no other way than to have you guys work this stuff out by hand to really teach it to you. Like I said, that deseparation challenge question on Bayes nets, you'll see that's worked out in the challenge question. That's one of my favorite. That was a situation where I had to slug it out by hand, and I didn't understand until then. And I still do. Every time I'm looking at Bayes nets, I go back to all my notes on that deseparation, look at how I slog through it by hand, and remind myself how all the conditional probability stuff works in Bayes nets, and nothing beats that. Once you've done it once, you can go back to it and see it again. Same thing in 3D graphics. Once you've done the 4x4 matrix or camera transforms by hand, you kind of really get it. Or TensorFlow, or tensors for that matter, in machine learning. So regarding the median-based grading, are grades calculated per project and combined for the final grade, or is it overall course grade just based on the median combined grade at the end of the course? Let me think how we do that. I believe that, I believe we combine everything at the end. So we have a median at the end for the class, and then we actually do the standard deviation from there. I was thinking about going to a straight, and by the way, and if it's 90%, I think I made this clear. I hope I did. Sometimes the median's above 90%. We always put our line for A's at 90% or lower, depending on what the median is that semester. So basically, we start at the A line starts at the 90% if it happens to go higher. It almost never does. Believe it or not, for the past few semesters, our median's almost always been around between 88 and 90.3, if I remember right. And so we're getting very close to the point where I'm going to just start declaring, the grades 90, 80, 70, 60, etc. The difference being, if students drop after a project, they won't be counted, and then of course median, but might be in a per project median. Yep, that is a problem. We do have, as people drop, the median goes up, but also we catch more plagiarizers who get assigned zeros for their homework assignment or worse. My favorite one is that we have students who plagiarize. We catch them, report them to OSI. They drop the course without realizing that OSI will re-enroll them in the course. And so they basically get zeros. And so that pulls the median down. So, we have two counterbalancing forces here. So you guys want me to catch the plagiarizers because it actually moves your median down. Can you please elaborate on short answers and show your work type of questions? Should we expect them to be about the same length of challenge questions posted on Piazza? Yeah. So the challenge questions on Piazza, a lot of them are precisely midterm and final exams from previous years. So they are a very good indicator of what you can expect on the midterm. Now, some of them we never post because some of them from previous midterms and finals we don't post because they were not particularly good ones, or they were too involved, or easy to misinterpret. But mostly what you're seeing on the challenge questions are most of the midterm and final questions in the past semesters. Yes, the plagiarizers drag down the median. Yes, great. So what we try to do before drop day is we try to get you all 3 assignments back and your midterm graded. That's our goal. Generally, we are able to do that. We've gotten quite good at that. Theo, your head TA, is excellent. I don't know if you guys appreciate Theo, but he is awesome. Not only is he a good guy, he deals with a lot of stuff for y'all. Both in quality control and making the assignments up. He's working on it right now, in fact, trying to make sure the PDF works well and all that sort of thing. Speaking about which, so anyways, if you give a shout out to Theo, it'd be a good thing. The man works hard. The one thing to be aware of is when you upload your PDF, check it, download it back to yourself, and make sure it worked. We have student last semester who uploaded the PDF and it just was garbage, and it would cause so much pain. Yeah, and also make sure when you do the PDF, there'll be a lot of check boxes and little things. When you first get your midterm, whatever viewer you're using, if you're not printing out and writing on it, but you're actually using some Acrobat Reader or Events or XPDF, make sure when you check things off and you save it and you load it back up, the check boxes are still there. Because the last thing you want to do is spend all this effort on doing the midterm and then having your answers not appear. So a little paranoia here, folks, is a good thing. When you first get it, check the boxes, fill in some blanks, make sure your reader is doing the proper thing, and then at the final chance, when you upload the PDF to us, download it again, make sure we got what you think you got. Okay, let me talk a little bit about. Let me actually see if there's any questions on Piazza that I wanted to give you. Thad's sort of a rundown on how to study for the midterm. Let's see here. Ooh, got another one. How much of the questions will be applying concepts from the book not covered in class, nor any of the challenge questions in Piazza? Well, the material in the book is fascinating. I don't think I'd feel comfortable applying some of the content covered in the book, but not covered in class. Yeah, so the videos sort of cover the minimum knowledge, and it provides intuition. The assignments provide some deep learning on particularly narrow topics, because I can do so many of them, but the rest of the content's in the book. And so, as you probably know, in each of the videos, each of the sections, I provide you with a challenge question at the beginning that kind of shows what you should be able to do by the time you get to the end of the section. And also, we have additional readings throughout the videos. In some cases says, here's an assigned reading, here's additional readings. Make sure to do the assigned readings ahead of time, because otherwise you might be surprised. I think we have the 3-player alpha beta with pruning, and also the Korf paper on Rubik's Cube. And we might have, I think we have Reach for A Star out there. So make sure you do those readings before we release the midterm. A lot of people forget that. Yes, there are some in the book that will be covered that you have not seen in the videos or in the assignments. Mostly those are the ones that I find particularly important. Things that you might get in, say, an interview for Google, something like that. And things that I think you can learn from the book pretty easily. Let's see, I'm trying to think what's on the midterm right now. Yeah. So some of the stuff we're introducing terms that we think are, sometimes we use the questions in the midterm, the final, to further explore some terms or some ideas that we don't think the book is covering very well. So like I said, the midterm is as much a teaching instrument as it is an evaluation instrument. And every semester, when it comes to the course evaluations, I get students saying how much they enjoyed the exams, because it really helped them learn stuff they didn't realize they didn't know yet. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't save the completed forms. We need to print them in non-fillable PDF format to save our answers. Will that be okay? Yes. So we have, when you upload your PDF, so if you actually print out your PDF, write stuff by hand, and scan it in and send it up as a PDF, Gradescope helps us deal with that. There's no problem there. We're fine with that. It's a little slower for us, but we're much happier with you getting the credit you deserve, as opposed to having to fight some recalcitrant piece of software. So if it doesn't look like it's going to work, and doing the form filling electronically, print it out, fill it out, scan it up. And we require you to do all as one PDF, but there are PDF scanners for cell phones where you take a picture of each page and it actually assembles it into one big PDF. If you don't have access to a normal flatbed scanner, those work. The little cell phone PDF assemblers work surprisingly well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me go back to, let me see if there's anything else on Piazza here. If not, I'll talk about how to study. All right. So just like y'all, as a student, I was very busy. Some of y'all have like family and a 80-hour-a-week job, and you're doing this class. Some of you are trying to do 2 or 3 classes. I don't know how you would do it. I know I couldn't take more than 1 class while having a real life. But one of the things you want to know is how to study most efficiently. So what I find is that for most of us, what really drives our learning is trying out a question and seeing if we know enough already to make it work. And then if we don't know enough, we go back and read the book or watch the videos or whatever else. And that's how we all become more efficient. When we have a very limited amount of time. And so each of the videos, each of the sections start with these challenge questions, which help you Focus on what matters. So if I were you, I'd look at the challenge questions in front of each video, each section. Then I look at the challenge questions we post and look at them and see, don't look at the answers for them, but look at them and see if you're confident in answering them. And if you're not, then go watch the videos for that and go read the book for that. And again, if you haven't already, hopefully you have, and make sure that, you get confident in being able to answer those questions. So the challenge questions are kind of giving you your North Star to sail by. And then you actually know at least what I find to be most important to get out of the book and out of the videos. The videos themselves, I'm teaching you just the minimum necessary to be dangerous in the videos. By the time you get out of this course, you can walk up to Sebastian Thrun or Peter Norvig or me and have an intelligent conversation about these algorithms. But the whole point of this course is to give you a survey so that you get the entry visa into the world of AI. Doing real AI research is the only way you really understand this stuff. I can Markov models, even though I learned them at MIT. I didn't understand them until I actually worked on a world-class speech recognizer system at BBN. I did not really understand naive Bayes toolkits or decision trees or random forests until I actually had to use them. Right now, I'm actually learning dynamic Bayes nets for real, because this is the first time I've actually had to use them in a research project. But what we're trying to do here is give you enough of the concepts that you feel confident in knowing where to get more information and where to start if you ever have to do these things in real life. So the challenge questions gives you an idea of where to look at. The videos give you hopefully an intuition. So I look at the challenge questions, I look at the videos, hopefully I read the videos, then I look at the book, because hopefully by then you actually know what you need to learn. In the book sometimes is excellent at telling you the details, and sometimes it's not so great. So hopefully the videos fill in where the book is not so hot. If you really want to get ambitious, the book has lots of questions that you can go answer. There's also, as we're getting, before we're getting into the midterm itself, there are lots of other classes out there that you can play their videos. If you don't like my explanation or the book's explanation, you can find other stuff online. Please do that before we release the midterm, right? Believe it or not, we can actually tell sometimes how people answer on some of these things if they're actually looking at other courses materials. I know that seems odd that we can do that, but it's, it's possible. Anyways, so Seth, I say challenge questions. If I had not done anything in this course yet, I look at challenge questions, then videos, then read the book, read the extra papers, start working on the extra problems in the book. I think that's the most efficient way of doing things. Okay. Any other questions here? Let's see if anything on Piazza. Nope, nothing on Piazza. Nothing here with live stuff. Well, in that case, let me share with you some cool stuff. So in the next section, we'll talk a little bit in the book. I don't remember. I don't remember if we cover support vector machines in the current videos or if that's a video that's coming up. But in the book, they certainly cover support vector machines. We are about to give a presentation. Let's see here, not next week, but the week after that, a conference called Augmented Human. And And what we're doing is silent speech recognition. So we want to have the ability to be able to control our wearables silently. So if I can, suppose I have a calculator application, I want to say 62723 times 23 and be able to command the computer that way. But how that would look would be, and by silently speaking those digits, the system would recognize it. How that works is there's an electrode array on the top of my roof of my mouth, and what we're using is it's got 124 different electrodes, and that's our feature vector through time. And for each digit, we actually just push a button on our on a little controller that says when to listen, and it sends about 10 samples a second to the SVM. And the SVM distinguishes the different digits and the add, multiply, divide, subtract, that sort of thing, and equals. And we're getting 97% accuracy on 17 words spoken silently, and we're actually able to control our wearables that way. And so 2 weeks from now, you might want to watch the news. We're going to try to attempt to do at least the first part of our presentation on this work silently, so that I'll say silently, "Welcome to Augmented Human. My name is Thad Starner. Beside me is Richard Lee. We want to show you the most recent work on tongue board." Of course, I'll be doing this phrase by phrase, and I'll be doing it silently. And we'll have the actual computer voice for me. And so the reason we're doing this is, number one, show you can actually do this. I'll be walking around the stage as I do it, show it's actually a mobile system. And like I said, we get really, really good accuracy with this. This is a phrase level recognizer. It's not a phoneme recognizer. It's a phrase level recognizer or a word level recognizer. There's some phonemes it doesn't get very well. But it works much better than we thought it would. And hopefully we'll be presenting this live as part of our Augmented Human presentation in France. It is the most recent AI work coming out of my lab at Google, actually. So my first paper is as a Googler. So watch for that. Might be fun to do a I don't know if we can modify the hidden Markov model assignment at the end using this silent speech recognition instead, because we have the data. I don't know. Currently the last assignment's using sign language recognition, but I don't know. See if you guys tell me if you want to play with silent speech. Maybe we'll write that up. Okay. All right. We have some more questions before we wrap up. Maybe a silly question or answered elsewhere, but is the exam closed internet? Yes, it's closed internet. Or is it researched with sources that's acceptable? No, it is closed internet. You can only use the book. You can only use the videos. You can only use the what's already on Piazza. You can't ask other students for help. You can't ask other people for help. You cannot search other courses. You cannot use other books. You can only use the material in this course. MIT AI Open Courseware was given as a reference in one of the Piazza posts. It was saying we could check the material other than pseudocode parts for a better understanding of the material. That's correct for doing the assignments or for getting general understanding. You're not allowed to use MIT Open Courseware during the midterm. Yeah, that is off limits during the midterm. So does that answer your question, Ken? Oh, sorry. That was Orkun. I'm sorry. Okay. I think all the instructions for that's also given at the beginning of the midterm. Please read the instructions carefully. I said about the PDF and what you're allowed and what you're not. We're getting more serious about checking for midterm plagiarism. And if you guys if you guys want an interesting problem, think about how, given the rules I just said, think about how we look for cheaters on the midterm. It's a very interesting problem, and actually uses some very interesting AI techniques, some of which you'll actually be learning in assignment 5. Okay, thank you much, folks. Good luck on the midterm. Please enjoy it. We've been trying to make it fun. We've been joking around and trying to have some cool stuff. Yes, yes. Yes, you can look at other courses before the midterm, but not during the midterm. We actually point to some other courses in case you don't understand my explanation or the book's explanation. We try to point you to other resources. But once the midterm starts, you're just limited to the 6601 materials from this semester. Okay. Okay, guys. Good luck. Have fun. Hopefully, it's enjoyable. And I'll talk to you guys after the midterm. Oh, and also, by the way, after the midterm, what we found is I used to go online and work through the midterm step by step in a video, but now what's happening is the TAs will actually dissect the midterm afterwards. Each individual question they were responsible for. They'll even talk about the common failure modes and how to think about the problems. After midterm, watch out for that on Piazza. It's an extremely good learning experience. And we'll give you some preparation for the final. It also helps you figure out whether or not you want to keep the course or drop, to see, was your problem a misunderstanding, some simple mechanical stuff, or really, you're having trouble with the material. And so a lot of times the debriefing of each problem after the midterm on Piazza is extremely helpful. Okay. Thanks much, folks. I will hopefully talk to you soon.